So now that you've changed the heads on your bass drum, it's time to get it sounding good. Now, if I play the drum, it's going to sound like this. Now, it's not going to sound very good. So as you can see, not a great sound. So let's start by tuning the front head or the resonant head. So here we are about to tune the resonating side of the bass drum. Now, what I like to do, doesn't matter which drum I'm tuning, I like to muffle the opposite head that I'm not going to be tuning. So I have my old friend, just this pillow that I use for muffling the other head. So what I'm going to do is lift this up slightly, put it underneath the drum, just so I'm not actually hearing the back head or the batter head as I'm tuning. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I can feel that some are tight, some are loose. As I'm going to loosen everything off to where it feels like this stuff wants to come off. Okay, so they're feeling like they want to come off now, the tension rods. So I just get them all to the same. That one's still pretty tight. Loosen that one. Okay, so they're all pretty even right now. I need my drum key for the bottom ones, of course. Oh, it's actually kind of loose, that one. That one's kind of loose too. Just to a snugness. So at this point, I'm just going to get everything to a snug fit. So once I've got all the tension rods snug, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tap test with actually my finger. Now, what I do is I'm going to tap probably 2 inches, 4 centimeters from the edge of the bass drum hoop, and I'm just going to listen for a tone. Can you hear that? So I can hear a tone, so I'm definitely getting a sound from this head. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do the same thing just beside each tension rod. Now what I'm actually listening for there is for the differences, to see which ones are higher and which ones are lower. This is where, as drummers, we get to use our ears. And, you know, be patient, because you will start to get better at this over time. Sometimes you might be tuning your front head and you notice that there are some wrinkles, like you can actually see them in the drum head. You obviously want to get to the snug point where those wrinkles are gone and then go from there. But realistically, this head is pretty cushy. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around one more time and tap, and I still haven't decided. I haven't made that choice. Do I want to go higher or do I want to go lower? So let me do it one more time. Remember, you've got to be patient. And I've decided that it's going to be easier, not because I'm lazy, but I think at this point in time I like the way it's sitting and I like the way it's sounding. There's a couple of the high ones that I might bring down to match up with the low ones. So I'm going to go back to where I started, which was here. What I have now is the drum is in a range that's all very similar. This is a good point, because if I decide that I want the drum to be tighter in the front, I can just literally go around and turn each one the exact same distance. Always double check and do the tap test to make sure, and at least you have them in the same range. At this point, I don't know yet if I'm happy with this, because I have to hear it in relation to the batter side. So let's take a look at tuning the batter side now. So here we are with the batter side of the bass drum. Now I can feel this is really, really flimsy and loose. I can actually feel that I have some loose tension rods, so this drum definitely needs some work. So the first thing, same as the resonant head, I'm going to get everything snug so the tension rods and lug casings aren't even moving right now. A little too loose. So now I can literally feel that it's not quite as flimsy. It still is, but it's not quite. So right now, just by tapping that, I can see that it's pretty dead. And I'm going to take my old friend the pillow, stick him underneath so I'm muffling the front bass drum head. And at this point, this one's interesting, this head, because it has to not only sound good, it has to feel good when you play it with the bass drum beater. So starting right here, I'm going to give it a full half turn this time. Half turn. Go over 2. I need my drum key. Half turn around. So at this point, it's starting to sound like a bass drum. Also, one thing I'm going to mention, I'm using the Evans EMAD 2, which has an external dampening mechanism in it that fits underneath this ring here. And I've taken it out for tuning purposes because I don't like to have any muffling inside the drum when I'm tuning. If I need the muffling later, I'll put it in there. If I don't, I'll leave it out. So, right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do our old friend, the tap test. I'll use the drum key because I'm not too worried about damaging this head. Not that I'll damage with the key, but you never know. I hear a tone. And keep going all the way around. So by going around here, I realize I'm kind of all over the map. I'm hearing different tones all over the place. Now this is where, once again, that personal preference comes in, and I decide, is this head going to feel good when I play it like this? Should I go looser, or should I go tighter, or should I try to stay in the same range? I think just for my own personal preference of playing, I'm going to try to go just a tad tighter. So what I would do at this point is I go around again and I listen for the higher ones. See how many higher ones there are in relation to the 10 that I have here. So what I'm hearing is I'm hearing that these two right here are similar in I guess, a higher pitch. So what I might try to do is bring the rest of these up to this guy and see what happens. So from what I'm hearing, I seem happy at this point. Push on the head going, okay, it doesn't feel too loose, it doesn't feel too tight, I don't see any wrinkles in the head, okay, and I don't know if I'm going to use the muffle system yet because I haven't put the pedal on and actually hit the drum. So why don't we do that next? The next step is to turn the drum over, put the bass drum pedal on, and hear it. That's the next step. Let's try that. We now have the bass drum pedal hooked up. We have the drum heads somewhat in tune. Let's see how it sounds. Now I'm not totally blown away with that just yet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around to the front here. Pull that microphone aside. Now I have a piece of foam inside here that I can see is kind of all curled up, and we didn't pull it out, but I can see I got this big, huge chunk of foam that I actually like to have sitting along the bottom of the drum, touching both heads. I just started doing this about a year ago, and I really, really liked the effect that I get. So let's put it down. So now, go back over here, and I'm going to hit the drum once again. Let's try one more thing, okay? What I have also done in the past is, there's many different types of muffling systems in the market. I use the Evans EQ pad as well in a couple of my other bass drums at home, but with this one, I've actually rolled up an old towel, put some duct tape on it. I'm going to put this inside of the front hole and lean it up against the back side of the head. So now I have that towel right on this side, only on the batter side, right up against the bottom of the shell, up against the head. So let's listen to it one more time. I want to go one step further to the Evans EMAD external ring. I want to see what this does when I put this back in. So I'm going to put this on this side, on the batter side of the head here. Let's hear how it sounds now. I'm pretty happy with that. But did you notice how long that took? Now obviously for the purpose of this video we really went through the process slow. I could probably end up doing this whole thing in about 5 minutes. And that's a part of your job, is to make sure that you get good at tuning and finding your sound for the music that you're playing. Enjoy!